Hey friends, happy Tuesday. I'm so excited to be here today. And if you are catching me live, which I really hope you are because you can ask questions as we go, but if you are catching the replay, thank you. I'm a certified personal trainer, a gym owner, and a mom of 3 little girls. And today I am so excited to be here with Charity from Silver Fern Brand. You guys products the last year or so and absolutely love the probiotics and talk about gut health all the time to my clients and just on Facebook Live in general. So Charity, thank you so much for joining. I'd love.
Okay, so it cut out for just a second. I hope everybody can hear us okay. So can you repeat what you just said?
Basically, just if you can introduce yourself and your role in the company. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sure. Okay, yes. So hi, everyone. My name's Charity. I am the Chief Nutritionist for Silver Fern Brand. I'm also, like Jenny, I'm a mom. I've got 2 boys and 2 girls. And my true passion is disease prevention. That's something that I've kind of I live in Utah. I've been teaching for quite a while. And the more I study disease, interestingly enough, the more I learn about gut health. And so I love that Jenny has this forum that we can talk a little bit more about gut health and how important it is for everybody to understand.
Yes, it is so important. And I had no idea how important it was until a little over a year ago. And for someone, I have no gallbladder. It was removed when my first daughter was born. And it has been like these products have been a game changer in my gut health and just losing weight, keeping it off, having a flat belly again. So, do you want to dive into what makes Silver Fern probiotics different and better than what's on the marketplace? I don't know if you want to talk about the drink mixes. I have one right here with me.
Is it okay if I give just a history on kind of a lot of people, some people that I work with, they go, why in the world are we hearing all this stuff about probiotics? So if you don't mind, I'll just give a little kind of background. So there was something called the Human Genome Project. This was a giant funded study to basically study genes. And what they found from this gene study is that humans only have 23,000 genes. And a rice plant, for example, has about 46,000. Earthworm is about the same. And so they did this gene study to kind of figure out basically where disease comes from. And the long and short of it is that they found that humans are incredibly complex. And genes don't account for as much as we thought that they would. So that kind of gave birth to something called the Human Microbiome Project. And that project was a study of bacteria. I mean, simply put, just a study of microbiome. And what we now know is that humans, we actually have more bacterial cells than we do human cells. So we don't need genes for everything, but we do need is really healthy bacteria. And that Human Microbiome Project just finished in 2013. And that's kind of why we are seeing so much just in the last 4 years about gut health and probiotics, because we're learning more and more. That's kind of the background. And then unfortunately, we, in our society at least, we've kind of created a barrier between our bodies and this really important environmental bacteria that we need. So that's from things like antimicrobial soaps, sanitation, but also things like our standard American diet, high sugar diet, high processed foods, lots of alcohol. Those are the types of things that will kill off our healthy bacteria. And if you're not replacing it with good probiotics, then now we're seeing a lot of gut health issues. When I talk to women, I'm shocked at how many women have gut problems. I was blessed with kind of an iron gut, but there's a lot of people that have really serious health issues and they don't know that it stems from their gut. So I love, Jenny, that you're kind of opening this conversation.
Yeah.
So that said, here's what people do need to know about probiotics. They are not all created equal. To be honest, about 95% of the probiotics on the market really aren't really going to do much for your body. And the reason is because they don't make it all the way to the large intestine where they're needed to colonize. Number one key with a probiotic, it's got to survive. Now, if I'm being, there's some benefit of having dead probiotics in the body. They've done studies on that. But if you're going to be spending the money, Jenny, be honest, like you want something that's going to work, right? Yeah, something that's going to make it all the way down to the large intestine. So that's what sets our probiotics apart from the rest. And they're not enteric coated. That means they don't need to be refrigerated. And if you stop and think for that for just a second, I used to always buy the refrigerated. gosh, if they're refrigerated, they're alive. But the reason they need to be refrigerated is because they can't survive room temperature. Well, imagine what's going to happen when they hit the very harsh environment of your stomach. Acids, the bile salts, all those things will pretty much kill a lot of the probiotics that are on the market. But our strains that we use, they're called the bacillus strains. They're phenomenal. We call them ancestral strains because they were what our ancestors were exposed to. They're found in the North Pole, the South Pole, on rocks, on tree bark. I mean, environmental bacteria that are designed to come into the body, provide a benefit to the host, and then truthfully, they leave. They do all these amazing things with our body, and then they leave through our feces, which is 50% bacteria. So that's kind of what makes us different. Answered that question adequately.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you addressed the being refrigerated, because I get that question all the time, and I was curious as well. The information on why it doesn't need to be refrigerated, and it still works. So I promote what I love the most is the drink mixes. And I send these samples, a week supply, to all of my clients in all of my online fitness boot camps. They get to try it, send it out. The reason I love this so much is that it's a little bit sweet craving that I have. About these drink mixes is, can you take them when you are pregnant or breastfeeding?
Yeah, good question. And the answer is absolutely yes. We get that question a lot, both with the probiotics and the drink mixes. The drink mixes, absolutely pregnant nursing. They're safe for children. They're the sweetener in there I don't necessarily recommend for babies, because babies under 1, pretty much we don't want to introduce them to that. But people do ask about the probiotics. Our probiotics are tested up to as young as 10 days old. Wow. So what a lot of people don't know is we get most of our bacteria from our mother's birth canal. That's really where we get them. So if there's C-section babies, that gut bacteria that maybe they need to kind of keep their gut healthy. And so I tell people mix the probiotics, to open it right in water, or in a sippy cup for little ones that might have gut problems, or even for a baby, a C-section baby. Mom could put it in breast milk and just dip it and put it on their finger. I mean, really, really safe. These are environmental strains that have been thoroughly tested and have been proven to be very, very safe.
That's really good to know. So what's the difference between the Ultimate Probiotics, so the capsules, and the drink mixes?
Yeah, okay, that's a good question. So really it comes down to potency, if I were to be totally honest. Our probiotics have 5 different types of strains in there, whereas the drink mixes only have 2. We love people to get probiotics through their system all day long. So the drink mix is a great way to do it, but it's more like a potency. It's kind of like, sometimes I'll come home from the gym and wash my face and maybe take a body wipe, right? Like, I hate to admit it, but that's the truth.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I need a full shower. That's kind of the same thing. Like, drink the drink mixes all day long, but I do recommend, especially for people that do have gut health issues, to take those probiotics twice a day. And the other question maybe you've gotten is when people should take them. Yes. Okay. So, the typical answer that a lot of people are used to is taking probiotics at night on an empty stomach. But ours are different. Ours are not the same probiotics. I recommend people take them for 2 reasons. They don't need to be taken with a meal. They're perfectly safe to be taken at night on an empty stomach. But here's the reason why I think you should take it with a meal. Our probiotics actually benefit digestion. They really do. They actually make enzymes that help with digestion. So that's one reason to take it with. The thing that people aren't fully aware of is where bacteria get their food. So we used to think fiber was this kind of weird thing that it's in all those things that grandma said was good for. Vegetables are loaded with fiber. People ask me what diet they should be on all the time. I don't care what you're eating, fiber. And here's why. We now know that this undigested food starch that goes through our body is actually fuel for probiotic, our bacteria ferment the fiber in our body. So when you're eating a healthy meal, chances are it's going to have fiber in it, which you know is fuel for those mean, use those two together and it's super synergistic. So that's why I recommend having it with a meal.
Yeah, that makes sense. It does. And we also follow intermittent fasting. My clients and I follow the intermittent fasting to where we of day. With the drink mixes, will that break your fast?
Okay, that's kind of like a little finicky. I personally don't drink the drink mixes until my fast is over. Okay. But it's not very high caloric. You would still technically stay in an intermittent fast. But I do really recommend people stick with just water if they can for those period of time. And what some people don't know is there's so many amazing bacteria in our body, and there's quite a few that we can't produce outside of the body. Go figure. They're just in our body. Well, one of the healthiest ones, kind of they line the mucosal lining of our intestine. And what we now know is that those, they duplicate at their greatest rate when we're fasting. They're not competing with other bacteria that might be eating up different things. They're not competing for anything. So in a fasted state, it has nothing to do. I think people hear the word fasting, they kind of freak out. I mean, I know I do because I love to eat, but it's one of those things that has nothing to do with weight loss, calorie intake. It simply has to do with helping that really body grow. And it grows best when you're fasting. Simple as that.
Exactly. One other question that we hadn't talked about, but how does having a healthy gut with the right probiotics and healthy gut bacteria, how does that help with belly fat? Because as women, we struggle with midsection belly fat and holding it on our midsection and struggling with getting that fat off. How does healthy gut help with that?
Okay, I'm going to answer that in two parts, if that's okay. The first part is something called short chain fatty acids. It's a scientific term that sounds a little funky, but what we need to know is short chain fatty acids are phenomenal for amazing. We want them created in our body. They tell our fat genes to turn on or off, essentially. So when I tell people that, they're like, okay, how do I get short chain fatty acids? Great, I'm sold. Well, here's how. Again, there's two things that you need in your gut, in your lower intestine for short chain fatty acids to be created. You need fiber and you need healthy bacteria. So those two, when bacteria ferments fiber, short chain fatty acids are created. They now know short chain fatty acids help prevent colon cancer. They help burn that fat on your body. So that's answer. My second answer is we also now know that when you have a high glucose meal, a lot of the time that extra glucose is going to be stored in your belly fat. So I'm going to translate that into English. When you eat a lot of sugar, that's where it's going to go. So that's the second element of getting rid of belly fat. It's really cutting out all of those processed sugars in your diet. Well, for a lot of people, that's really, really hard. Sugar is my Achilles heel. It's very, very difficult. So sometimes it's like saying to an alcoholic, hey, don't drink alcohol. And you're like, well, give me some tools, like help me out. Give me a life raft here. So here's how probiotics help with that. I have tried this so many times when I'm trying to get back off of sugar. You know, it kind of sneaks its way in, especially around the holidays. And there's two things people can do to get off of sugar. The first is, like you already mentioned, Jenny, to all your people, is intermittent fasting. The second is a good probiotic, and it will help kill bad bacteria. That's as simple as that. Antibiotic properties of our probiotics, because they actually can identify pathogens and viruses and things that your body doesn't want and kill them. Well, those bad bacteria, those fuel off of sugar. So as you're killing bad bacteria, guess what happens to your sugar cravings? They go away. I mean, it's a very real thing that I've tested out myself. And so those are the two things that people really can do to kind of see a difference in their body.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, with the drink mixes, when I'm craving that sweet, you know, I want to have something sweet and have that sugar, those are sweetened. And that's what those drink mixes really help curb those cravings. So I absolutely. But tell us a little bit about the Silver Fern brand, the fiber sweetener. I have not personally tried it yet, but I am looking into it. I really want to order some on my next order, but tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different sugar substitutes on the market. For me, the first one is aspartame, high fructose corn syrup, a lot of these processed real sugars too. And what we now know is those actually kill healthy bacteria. So then you're like, well, are there things that we can have that don't kill healthy bacteria? And the answer is yes. Stevia are sweeteners called cacao, but it reacts in the body similar. So you're getting the benefit of fiber with a sweetened taste to it. And the other thing that are cacao is that you can bake with it. So if I bake with stevia, work out that very well. So I use cacao. I put it in my tea. I put it on my kids, and I've added too many greens. I can add a little bit of sweetener in there and my kids will drink that. So it really is a very wonderful, amazing sweetener alternative that's actually good for you.
That's awesome. I can't wait to try it and to bake with it for sure. So I don't want to keep you too much longer. Are there any tips that you have, any last comments for the women that are watching this, just about gut health and why it's important?
Yeah. So we're learning more and more every day, which is for me so exciting to be in the nutrition field and the science field. We learn more every day. And there's things that are so important to understand. Obviously gut health, but gut health affects weight loss. Gut health affects absorption of our food. So Jenny, you might work with clients and they're like, man, Jenny, I'm working out and I'm eating all the right foods, but I'm not seeing the changes that I need. So for so long, it was about exercise and eating right, which I will preach that to the day that I die. But there's a third element. It's the trifecta now, and that's gut health. So people that might be doing the first two things that we recommend, if their gut isn't healthy, they're not absorbing those nutrients. They're not going to see the changes that maybe that they need in their body. So that's one reason, gut health, especially for women that are really trying to kind of maybe lean down or they're working, spending a lot of time in the gym, make sure they've got their gut right too, so that all those can work together. And then another thing that people don't understand and that we're learning more and more about is how much our gut affects our brain. So there's a lot of mood disorders, anxiety disorders, even stress levels. If your gut is off, your body is not creating those neurotransmitters that your brain needs. So we now know, for example, serotonin. 90% of serotonin is produced in our gut. Like, we want to feel good. And if your gut's off, you're just not going to get all of those benefits. So just the simple things that you've taught your clients about, really it starts with eating right. You know, you can't go have pizza and a beer and go, well, why don't I feel amazing? Okay. Yep. You can sometimes, but not every day. And then I also say stay away from alcohol in general. That's me. Like, stay away. That's going to kill your gut health. But having a good probiotic is something, and I'm not a supplement girl. I was always kind of one of those people, get your nutrients from food. But I'm now learning there's a handful of supplements that I take every single day, and probiotics is one of them.
Yep, me too, totally. And it's funny that you say like the eating clean and working out, because that was me a few years ago. I was doing everything right, but I could not get rid of just that like mom pooch that I call it. I could not get introducing these products into my daily life. I don't go a day without it. Like, there's some days where I'm like getting into bed and I'm like, oh shoot, I didn't take it. And I will run to the kitchen and take the 2 capsules and call it good. So thank you so much for joining me today. And the link to their website in the comments below on this video. So check it out. Ladies, these products are amazing. And it is that third component to losing weight and leaning out, losing that belly fat. So I will post that below. So check them out. So thank you again for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.